It's my immense pleasure and great honor to introduce you to Veena Das, our speaker for tonight. And I know many of you don't really need to be introduced to her at all, as she's now a household name in anthropology, sociology, different associated disciplines as well. And many of you, I know, have thoroughly engaged with her work, including many graduate students we see here in the audience, and thanks for such a good turnout tonight. So forgive me if I don't reiterate all of her academic achievements right now. I think it won't be possible in 5 minutes at all. And of course, all the seminal work she has published, most recently Life and Words, Violence and the Descent into the Ordinary, published with the University of California Press in 2007. What coalesces in this latest work is what I think are some of her best thoughts on violence and suffering, work she has previously published, but now critically revised. Taking the fine work, detailed work of ethnography seriously, she also ascends here to new levels of philosophical inquiry that already distinguished her early work. This includes a revision of her work on grief and recovery in Mirrors of Violence, published with Oxford University Press 1990, where she wrote on her long engagement with the 1984 Delhi riot victims. Still, that early book, Mirrors of Violence, I think is still a compelling edited volume on powerful text on the notion of survivors, not just in South Asia. And she also goes back to her work on abducted women in the context of the partition of India in 1947, which she first presented in her book, Critical Events, an Anthropological Perspective on Contemporary India, OUP 1995, which is also kind of a seminal work in terms of engaging into the whole debate around notions of representational practice in anthropology and critical revision of that. And of course, in subsequent chapters, she contributed to the seminal volumes on social suffering, violence and subjectivity, Remaking a World, all published with the University of California Press, and she co-edited those seminal volumes in collaboration with people like Arthur Kleiman, Margaret Locke, some of you will know her from Canada here, Ramphele Mapfele, other distinguished anthropologists. Also 3 volumes with University of California Press. What I found really intriguing in her recent work is that she combines a biographical and philosophical reflection on such important issues as what to make of the everyday and the ordinary as realms of existence in which lives previously devastated by experiences of violence are refashioned. She intervenes here into key debates around state violence, the state of exception, the question of how to understand subjectivity in these zones of devastation. And unlike many popular texts on this issue, I think Veena Das focuses on, like no one else does, on the voice of the subject and how the subject is able to recover a sense of living with loss in the course of an ongoing work on relationships and social relationships within the local moral worlds, as she says, in which perpetrators and victims often continue to inhabit the same social, political, and religious space. Now, there are many, many more important aspects to her work, including her intervention into important legal discourses on sexual violence and rape in India, but also various contributions to the issue of health, illness, and subjectivity, which I assume will be also maybe a crucial departure point for her talk today on the poverty and the imagination of a future, the story of urban slums in Delhi, India. So I use an idiom which I learned here in Canada, and please join me in welcoming Veena Das to the podium.
I want to start by just saying what a great privilege it is to be here, especially on the 50th year of York University's celebrations. I'm also really very grateful that something which is not fully crystallized in my mind in terms of a research topic, that I'm very grateful that I have the opportunity to share some of that with you. A couple of years ago, one of my graduate students told me this story which really made me a little nervous. He wanted to go and give a talk. He was giving a talk somewhere on religion and forms of pleasure in some villages in Rajasthan. And somebody from the audience said, if your supervisor is Veena Das, will she allow you to work on anything else except suffering? And I thought, no, I mean, this is a terrible challenge. So though I haven't made my way up to pleasure, I have what I'm going to try to present here is, I hope, a certain kind of intimacy towards some of the areas in which I've been working for the last 9 years. So for the last 9 years, I've been trying to build a longitudinal study of 10 neighborhoods in Delhi. Most of them are low-income or middle-income neighborhoods. And I want to think about this question about the life forms that the poor inhabit, because I think that there is a lot of discourse on poverty, but the poor are often created in a certain sense to serve the needs of the particular academic disciplines in which they tend to be located, or the particular kinds of policy discourses or policy that has to be put into place.